Hey guys, Rano here. Welcome back to Formula 2 here for the second round of the F2 season. And it's also like the 8th time I've tried to record this video because for whatever reason today Bandicam just is not having it. I don't know what its issue is, but we're going to try and soldier through it anyway. Here at the Brazilian Grand Prix, didn't get to run this race in 2019 due to the world situation cutting the championship short. They're here now for round 2 as a pink car on pole. It's not an Aston Martin, but if they manage that next week in the F1 race, they've done something very, very correct. We've got one of the home favourites, Felipe Drugovich, starting in 8th place in the MP. Of course, home favourites along with Guilherme Samaya and Pedro Piquet. Now, uphill start is crucial you get away on the formation lap and the race start because no anti-stalls here on these F2 cars. And it's Artem Markov takes the all-important pole position with the 4 points that go with it. And for the first time in F2, you've got Jehan Daruvla on the front row in the Carlin. And in P3, you've got championship leader coming into this race, Dan Ticktum, ahead of the other HWA and Giuliano Alesi. Sergei Sorokin starts in P5 ahead of the ARTs of Lundgaard and Armstrong, with Drugovich, as you saw, in 8th place ahead of Sonoda and Jack Aitken. Robert Schwartzman starts on P11 ahead of Tadasuke Makino in 12th, and Sean Glale down in P13, 10 places behind his teammate. Pedro Piquet, one of the other home favourites, could only manage 14th place in the Charoux, ahead of Max Gunter in the second of the Primers. Guilherme Samaya starts from 16th place in the other. Campos and the other one of the home favourites, ahead of Guan Yu Zhou, lead UniVirtuosi only from 17th place. Rino Sato starts 18th as lead Trident ahead of Luca Giotto and Roy Nassani in the other Trident, with Callum Eilert in 21st and Louis Delatraz on the back row of the grid once again. He managed to set a lap time in qualifying this time, but unfortunately for him, couldn't manage any better than 22nd and last. And for this race, we're going to be following on board with one of the home favourites, Pedro Piquet in the Charoux, starting from P14. Not the best qualifying for the Brazilian, but he's still just outside the points places. Points being awarded in this race to the top 12, like in the usual F1 positional point system. The points are definitely on offer, and with the field being as close as it is, it's going to be crucial to make moves early because the field spread will, of course, put a lot of a gap between all the cars. Now coming to the 5 red lights for the start of the Brazilian F2 Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. It's a good start there from Daruvla from second place on the inside line on the dirty side of the road. He gets a power down into second gear and into third, maybe even into fourth briefly into turn 1. He gets the lead. He's clear of Markelov. He's still now at HWA 2-3. And now you've got side by side, you've got Ticktum being forced out wide there by one of the high techs. There's going to be Sorokin being side by side with the championship leader coming into this race, but Ticktum still going to keep it there on the inside line. So we're going side by side there with the Russian back in F2 for this year. Of course, with the backing of Alfa Romeo being the reserve driver for them as well. Just manages to play it through there. Ahead of Ticktum's not going to be playing it too aggressively. Every round, going to be championship leader, you will be thinking about the championship already. If you're ahead of who you think is going to be your rivals, which we're not because you've got Markov up there. Markov looked very quick in the last race. If it wasn't for the strategy disaster of every other team, he would have had an easy win there. But he's ahead of Schwartzman. It looks like he's going to be one of the other early contenders. Now back on board here with Piquet, who made up a place up into P13, so it's a good start there for the Brazilian. The middle sector, there's not really anywhere here you can overtake unless you're already going side by side with a car coming out of the first sector. Now through here, you can gain a lot of time if you get a car that's hooked up here through the middle sector, but then putting on more downforce makes you slower here through this final sector. They're getting all over the back though of Tadasuke Makino. They're getting very close to the back of the Japanese driver, of course, with the Honda backing, also back in Formula 2 this year. Had a stint with the Russian time team, which has now become the UniVirtuosi in the past. Won a race, but now he's back here trying to get himself back into Formula 1, of course, under the Honda program. We're looking for a seat most likely at AlphaTauri or Williams in the near future. So through the centre races, this is where Piquet's been weakest so far through here. You can see the car in front just pulling away a little bit. And Makino, though, is getting a run there on the back of Jack Aitken. Coming down now into turn 3. He's close to trying to make a move on the Brit. Not quite taking that. Has to go very defensive to the inside line. Has to block off the Japanese driver through the corner. He manages to make it work though, so good for him in that. Now moving a bit further on now then, onto lap 3. Still in Pedro Piquet and Aitken, still got Sato and Galale as the cars behind. Of course, Sato, being a Japan, going to be looking to get somewhere around either a Honda-powered team or maybe even in with Toyota. Now you go, making a move here to the line of McInnes. I mean, if you get your car hooked through the middle sector, you can really, you can find some pace here through the corners now into the final sector. He makes the move stick there on Makino. Up now into P12, inside the points places. He's still not quite the lead Brazilian though in this race. That's going to be still Djokovic. He's a bit further up the road, but now pulling away there from McKinnon. Maybe caught there a little bit by surprise, making moves into the final sector, doing what Lewis Hamilton did to Timo Glock all those years ago. And some people still believe that was a conspiracy. I don't know how it would be, but you're never going to convince some people though, are you? Now, on to lap 4 of 20, which makes this the best lap of the race to be inside the top 12. Now getting on the back of Schwartzman. Now any points that PK can take off Schwartzman, or anyone else looking to be in the early title fight, that could help take them and Markov come the end of the season. As I say, with the field being as close as it is, even though you do get a little bit of field spread still as you would in any race, there's still less than a second separated first to 21st in qualifying, so not quite including Delatraz in there, but still a very close field nonetheless. Now further on, you've still got De Ruvla leading the way for the first time in Formula 2 ahead of Markov. He's been in and around Formula 2 now for a long time, so he knows the game, he knows what he has to do here. He's still in third place, it's still the other HWA of UniONE Olesi ahead then of Sorokin. No, you've got Markov here is going to have the DRS now on the back of the Indian driver, the lead of the Red Bull back drivers in this race in the Carling car. DRS wide open there for the Russian coming out into turn 3. And he's not going to be quite close over there to make a move on the back of De Ruvla. And you've got a lady there still just about managing to hold on from Sergei Sorokin in the High-Tech. Of course, High-Tech, a new team in Formula 2 for this year. And a lot of the mechanics they managed to steal away from Campos. So their main fight this year is going to be beating the team that they stole a lot of the top engineers from this year. So still got the Russian there in P4 on his return. Then in first place, he's still got Dan Ticktum in the lead of the Dams. Still, I think might still actually be the championship leader if things finish like this. Still going to be pretty close because Markov getting those 4 points for qualifying on pole. Now then, on to lap 5 now, we're all over the back here. They can go for a dive to the inside line of the brake ring. Going to squeeze us onto the cone and not giving us any space there at all to work with. Now it's going to be like it's going to get very aggressive now then with the Brit. Also, apologies if things don't quite line up. Bandicam still isn't quite working. It's taken me an hour to record to this point, and we're only 7 minutes into the race, so just trying to power through it, trying to get it out. Now then, we've still got on the back though of Aiken. They're going to have the DRS now, but Aiken also just about managed to have DRS on the back of Schwartzman in front. So go stationing though. Aiken's going to look to the inside line. We're going even more to the inside line there. PK making a move in front of his home crowd, in front of the main sector as well. I'm sure the crowd are going to love that. Making their way up now into P10. Now then, this is the S's there is where PK is the weakest, and that's going to give Aiken a run to try and come back at the Brazilian with the DRS now. It's not a double DRS, and so you have to go defensive there. It is PK to the inside line. He makes the move there to the inside line. A little bit of a lock of that actually there from Jack Aiken, so bring a bit wide, but not as wide as where PK is going. I think he may have just found the old parts of the track out there somewhere. This is not like back in F1 2009 where you had to just have the gluey blue bits around the outside, which is an instant stop, which would actually solve track limits, but it would be a little bit dangerous though. Now then, moving a bit further on, looking a bit further up front. I can't quite tell where we're looking at. Actually looking at Schwartzman, so a little bit further up the road. As I know, we've got PK getting on the back. Then we've got out of DRS now. Out of DRS range now is Jack Aiken in the Campos, and he's got Makina there all over the back end. Makina's still yet to score points this year. Of course, only the top 12 scoring points last race, so still there could be quite a few drivers yet to get on the box. And looking a bit further back up front, still got Sorokin there gaining now. Actually, I've been overtaken by TikTok, so TikTok looking to find a little bit of pace now in this race. Starting to feel his Dam's car around the second now. It's like Sorokin maybe wear out his tyres a little bit, because the tyres here we're using F2 are pretty much what the old F1 tyres were in like 2016, the ones that wear out just by looking at them. So yeah, tyre wear and tyre conservation in F2 is absolutely critical. And this is why you get the gap starting to form, because some cars and drivers which you think would be quicker do end up falling away. Now they're going to be time out for the pit stop. Now you've got a Lacey there coming in, so HWA pulling the trigger early. We've had a bit of a lock over there as well from the Frenchman just getting it stopped now into the pit lane. It's like the top two haven't quite come in yet, or they're coming a little bit further. I'm not seeing anyone else in the pit lane, so it's like the undercut going for a Lacey. So maybe try and jump him ahead of De Ruvla. Not quite sure what the strategy would be then, not boxing your lead driver first, but now he gets held over there in a little bit of traffic. Actually, he gets held over there in a lot of traffic. Gets 2 or 3 cars that has to get held for, and that might be why he actually didn't pit him on this lap. So it might be a little bit of good forward planning. Of course, it depends where your pit box is in Formula 2. There's a whole train of cars. They're coming back out now, then onto the track. Pretty much half the grid is just stopped here on this lap and making their way back to track. Everyone here onto a set of the medium size, I think this would be. I can't really quite remember the old specification of compounds. We went from the redder ones, one to the harder compounded tyres there, put it that way. Moving a bit further on inside the lead to manage to make their stops and still maintain the lead of the race. Then you've got the Soroki's managed to make his way up now into third place, so a good start there from the Russian and the high-tech team. Pretty much showing why they stole away a lot of mechanics from Campos. If they can make it work and get onto the podium now. Ahead then Giuliano and Lacey. Then you've got a massive jump here for one of the ARTs there, Marcus Armstrong. Of course, in his rookie season as well. Then you got Felipe Drukovic, still the lead Brazilian, but only just so. You got Tictum, and then you got Piquet not too far behind either. Before then, you've got the other Carlin of Yuki Tsunoda. He's managed to make up a few places through the pissed off phase as well, so it's working out pretty well here for the Carlin car. Of course, I'm sure Tsunoda's going to want to be a lot further up than where he is, but still, it's putting on a good race. And then we have the other ART of Christian Lundgaard, who's dropped back a little bit from his teammates. And then we have the SMP Prema car of Robert Schwarzman. He's not having the best race. He's sort of been stuck in the mid-pack. Now that he's got the shoes of Piquet riding behind. So Piquet's actually a little bit further back than what I thought he was. And they're still going to have DRS there on the back of Schwarzman. And then Schwarzman now the DRS on the back of Lundgaard as well. They're coming on the run now down into turn 1. Got the DRS there. They're going to make a look to making moves. No, not quite. Has to stay behind there. I mean, the Prema car, at least the one of Schwarzman and the Shrews, from a distance kind of look the same because they're both red, white and blue, and he's pretty much the same shades of red, white and blue. And up behind you've got the other MP of Pedasuke McKinnon outrunning outside of the points places now, and then the lead UniONE choice, a bit of a wiggle there for the Campos of Samael, trying to make a move there on Sean Galile. He makes the moves through, yes, I like Galile there, just manages to hold it through, so a bit of a wiggle there because these cars with a little bit less, well, a lot less downforce than the F1 cars. Yeah, you have to be crucial going for direction changes when you got your DRS wide open. And you got Gunter and the other Prema struggling in the straight. He's not really found his feet so far on his return to F2. Then you've got the other UniVirtuosi of Calamila, but part of the FDA. But struggling here down towards the back of the road along with Giotto and the Tridents. And then we've got Jack Aiken all the way down here in like, what, 20th place? I'm not quite sure what's happened to him. Must have had some sort of issue in his pit stop. Maybe had to make another stop, and I don't know, we've not seen what's happened to him. And then you got Louis Delatraz running around the back on his own. Whatever it is, something's just not working out for him so far this year. Now then, on to lap 12 in P10. We've got Schwarzman now as the car behind. Now Schwarzman is going to try and make a move, trying to come back though into turn 1 and keep it side by side. Here through turn 1, Piquet going to have to go defensive to the inside line and manages to make the move stick. Does he just about manage to hold it through there? Still holding on to P10. You've got Lundgaard as the car up the road, and then you've got Yuki Tsunoda in P8. Once again, I have to apologise for the choppy, not quite in line. Quite in line. We're going for a move though. We've got yellow flags going now into turn 3. Something got wrong for a car behind. Nothing's happening in front. You've got yellow flags of the car there. Must have been having issues from far behind. But yeah, apologies if he doesn't line up. I'm just record it in chunks, put timestamps on them. So when each bit starts, it starts in line. As starting out of the Grand Prix, and we've got a safety car deployed. Is that a VSC? No, it's a full-on safety car. Has been deployed now, is it? No, it is a VSC. Looking at a replay then of what happened to the Trident driver. He might make contact with someone. He's got a little bit of a gap, so he's probably not making contact with anyone. He's going slowly. I think he's lost the engine. Well, he's lost something. He's going very slow there. Maybe a gear box issue. I'm not seeing a whole plume of smoke out the back of the car. These F2 cars, they can be a bit temperamental. As we saw last race, both Campos cars retiring from the race, both with engine failures. And of course, everything about the cars physically are all the same, so there's going to be no difference in terms of reliability from one car to the other. On to lap 15 now, back onto the racing. Well, now we've got Piquet here, all behind the back here of Christian Lundgaard. We've got 5 laps of race left to go. We're inside the points places, so points are definitely on offer, but still, we've got a little bit of traffic jam that Sergei Sorokin starting to cause. So he had good pace in qualifying, not quite being able to translate that into race pace. Of course, you can set up, because it is all about how you set up your cars as well. And Sorokin still having to reline his F2 cars now, going to make a move to the inside line here. Oh, Christian Lundgaard catch the day napping, and he make the move there, up into P9. Yeah, a little bit there on the curbs. We managed to pull away from it, so I think we caught Lundgaard there by surprise, like we did to Makino earlier on in the race. Now then, did we get DRS? So that is the next crucial thing, and we have got DRS just about in range there of the Yuki there up in front, who's gaining on the championship leader coming into this round. Dan Tictum now into turn 1. Going to keep it nice and early there on the brakes, keep it nice and controlled. Lundgaard's not close enough there to come back. Well, we go a little bit away, get a bit of a horrible line through. That's a really poor line, get all over the curbing, like truly Soto did back in 2009 here. Now Lungo though with the DRS going to try and make a move to come back. He's going to try and make a move. He loses to it! He's into the wall. He's lost the race, smashed into the wall. He rebounds back across the track. He's got to check inside. A massive crash. A bit of a huge crash. McKean's out of the race. Zhu's out of the race. I got the other cars coming through. Can he get stopped in time? No, they can't. Glale's into it. And you've got Samai's into it. Oh, the track is blocked. The track is completely blocked. You've got AK into baggage queue. The entire track is completely blocked now. Some of the cars have somehow managed to keep the wheels on the car, and the red flag, that's it, race over. I'm not surprised. The entire track, there's just a blockade across it now. The entire track is blocked. I'm not surprised about the red flag. Like, you have to, really. There's no way anyone's going to get through. There's like 8 cars blocking the track. Now looking at a replay here of what happened to the ART drivers in the DRS. He goes to the outside, he tries to switch it, but then he loses the race, smashes into the wall, and then rebounds across the circuit. Gets the steering's broken. Oh, that is such a hard impact from behind. Bikini though, absolutely nowhere to go. I mean, you've got distance, but you've got nowhere to. You don't know what the car's going to do. You're not expecting it to stop in the middle of the circuit. You try to avoid it. But these three, there's absolutely nothing you can do. And you've got Highlight in there, Gunther in there. Now here's from the nose cam of Makino. See the car, the rebound comes up, but he's gaining something. The car just instantly stops. There's the deceleration from the ART. I'm sure even I wouldn't have been expecting that. So he's still trying to avoid it to the inside line. And you get everyone else there piling it behind him there. You've got Sean Galeo. You can't even see the cars before now you can see him trying to get on the brakes, but cars up behind, pushing into him as well, and then that's Galeo out of the race. Smash his car into that's going to be a very expensive repair with so much debris everywhere. And some of the cars somehow managed to keep going. Here's like an eyeline cam coming into braking there, and of course Galeo, you can't really see the car in front, slowing it down, and then just smashing air into the back of his Samay there. Absolutely nowhere to go. You can see there from the driver's eyeline cam, you can't see the wreckage in front really. And of course the further back you go, the less you can see. So of course from the elbow shots, it does look kind of pathetic, all these crashes really. But there's nothing you can do to avoid them. Like I said, a lot of replay from the further back now from Nissan, who was the back of this queue, and they can try to avoid it, but ploughed into the side of Nissan anyway. But he hits the back of it. The back of the car does tend to be a bit sturdier than the front, and the Sardi manages to find his way around the outside line to keep it going. But as all that was going on, this is the battle for the front, which comes up to the finish line for the final time. Of course, the race is going to be over. You race to the line. He's still going to have DRS though for Markelov coming up to the finish line, but it's going to be Deruvla to win his first race in Formula 2. And of course, because this was lap 16 of the race, it is still full points awarded as 75% of the race has been completed. So he gets the win and gets the full bag of points to go with it. Of course, we can celebrate because we know all the drivers are okay now. They're all out of the cars, under their own power, and Deruvla. I'm pretty sure he's going to be kind of happy the race was cut short. It's starting to get a bit dark now, so maybe rain was on the horizon. But the Indian driver, part of the Red Bull Academy, in only his second race in Formula 2. He was a Formula 2 winner. He was in the running for the F3 title a couple of years ago. And then you got Robert Schwarzman in 10th place. More, honestly, just happy to survive. Got through the mayhem just about somehow. Managed to get through it all. And now then, onto a very, I'm sure, very mixed feeling podium. They're all going to be happy they're up there. Of course, you don't want to see a race ending the way it did, but Deruvla on top. And now for the champagne. Markov there gave him a really good run for his money. And then you got on the podium as well. Throughout all of that, you got Sorokin there in P3, so he managed to pull it back towards the end. Taking a look at who survived the wreckage, in all honesty. You got Jehan Deruvla with his first win in Formula 2. Less than 2 tenths clear of Markelov, making it a Russian 2-3 Sergei Sorokin as you saw rounds off the podium. Alesi finishes where he started in P4, with Mark Salvation finishing P5 as the sole remaining ART. Felipe Drugovich finishes in P6, lead of the home favourites, with Dan Tatum down in 7th. A little bit disappointing there from the Brit. Yuki Tsunoda rounds off a good day for Carlin coming out in P8. With Pedro Piquet finishing in 9th place, and as we saw Robert Schwarzman completing the top 10. With Louis Delatraz scraping points, he's made up 10 places in one lap, with Samaya just about managing to get back around to the line in 12th. So Delatraz being so far back, he managed to pick his way perfectly around everyone else and pick up points for us. You know what? GG Delatraz, driver of the day, along with Deruvla, and Samai getting his first point as well. So all 3 Brazilians score points in their home race. And with Markelov taking near maximum points, he takes the lead of the championship on 36 points, 6 points clear then of Dan Ticktum. And Jayan Ruvler, after not scoring in the last race, comes right up now into 3rd place with those 20 points he scored today. You got Sorokin up into 4th place as the lead high-tech, and Pedro Piquet, despite not the best race here, 2 consistent results, has him up in P5 in the Charoux. 1 point clear of Robert Schwarzman in the Prema. And Marcus Sci's good race drops down into 7th place. And also on 15 points is Felipe Drugovich. As I was saying, everything's just so close. The cars, of course, the standing is going to be close early on as well. But everyone just seems so evenly matched. Then you got Sonoda in P9 on 11 points, 1 point clear of Alesi, who also gets on the scoreboard in this race. With Max Gunter down to 11th and Sean Gleo just about managing to stay inside the top 12. And now onto the team standings. It's HWA that lead the way on 46 points, 13 points clear of Dams, because so far Markelov and Alesi team-wise have been the most consistent, along with Carly, and that's why they're now into P3 on 31 points. And you got a little bit of a gap already starting to form from the top 3 down to Prema in 4th on 19, joint with Charoux. And you got High Tech up into P6 on 17 points, 2 points clear of MP and ART. You got Trident remain in 9th on 2, with Campos getting their first point of the season, leaving only Univirtuosi to get on the blocks. So that's been a very chaotic end to the Brazilian Grand Prix. Commentary, I did my best, I'll have to admit that. I did the best with how it's going. Yeah, if things are a little bit choppy, cutting out a little bit, I can only apologise for that. Bandicam, for whatever reason, is just not having it today. I don't know why, but hopefully it doesn't happen for the F1 race next weekend on Saturday. So if you enjoyed the F2 race, then please leave a like on the video, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you're new, hit that notification bell, so it's out any future videos. If you give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram, that'd be much appreciated. They'll be linked down below in the description as well. So thanks for watching. I'll see you all with hopefully less technical issues next week for the F1 Brazilian Grand Prix.